Well, shoot, actually, I'm about ready.
Well, Puddin' Pop's gonna run out of Michelob Ultra. You better hurry.
What's up, Crash It Nation? This is Jonathan Wood joining on the podcast tonight. We got Joshua Wood, old Zack Burton, driver of the Mad Dog, Mr. Backseat Driver himself, as the famous YouTube critics I got, and all the old TikTokers out there, they're calling you the backseat driver. They said, dude, that guy, after his seat broke, he's been driving through his back seat. This is episode 51. We'll get started. We got Zack on first, and then we'll get some full-size guys on later. He's going to recap and kind of tell us how his experience. This was our first time with Lucky Sevens Promotions trying the MWFA class, and Zack ran her down and got the Mad Dog. So thanks for coming on, Zack.
Thanks for having me.
So tell everybody kind of what even got you to build the MWFA class, because I know it's kind of like a last minute thing, but
it was like
tell
11 o'clock at
out
night.
there. What time was it?
It was like 11 when I went and picked it up at night.
Because this was the night before, right?
Yeah,
The Derby.
The fiance's little brother won that raffle car that he was raffling off. Jacob was. And I figured I wasn't going to let him go do it by himself, so I just threw that one together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Zack sent me a Snapchat late at night. He goes, freaking Braden.
Yeah.
Winning that.
She was against going, and so was I.
What?
We weren't even gonna go until he won that car.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you came.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So the MWFA class, there's not a whole lot you can do to the car, is there?
No, some of them didn't even have cages or something in them. Or just chain the doors and whatever they did to them. I figured I was going to throw a 3-point cage at least in it, but it wasn't in there that great.
That held together great.
Yeah, it did.
Well, what's a 3-point cage there, Zack?
No, it's a 2-point cage now. It's probably 1.5. A lot of the welds are broke on the doors and stuff.
Yeah, I was cracking up because for the Derby, we were talking about there wasn't very many mod compacts that showed up. And you're like, well, hell, if I got anything left over, I'll just take it out that. And I said, do you have a cage? You go, oh yeah, I got a better cage than Charlie Burns.
Yeah, that is right.
And well, by the end of it, I don't know if you did.
I would have entered it if I had a computer. Could have took it out of limp mode.
Well, is that what? So what did you think about that MWFA class?
It's pretty fun. I don't know if it's something I'd do again. If I did, I definitely wouldn't be taking a mini car or something like that. It'll definitely be an SUV or a big Lincoln car or something. Definitely not a mini car.
Yeah, there's only 2 compact cars.
When you say limp mode, can you explain that to us?
It was just putting around.
Mean?
You're putting around.
Is that something you're?
His connection. He's in Florida.
Oh yeah.
He asked explain what limp mode is for all of our listeners, because we have a lot of people that have no clue what that even means that listen to this podcast.
Not something I usually.
Is that something that Zack? Is that something your wife is used to, or what is limp mode?
Oh well, we're talking about the car now. Oh, he's full of these W body guys or H body, whatever. I can't get enough of them. I usually, if I had a camera out there, I'd have probably won the whole sucker. But
oh gosh, getting on the Camrys again. The
Old
Camry
Greenwood.
that was out there made one really good hit on your boy, and that took her out.
Yeah, I don't think that was a very smart shot either on her part. He ran right into that SUV. That was a good shot.
She was moving across there. She was still in drag race mode, but
Yeah, I'd
um,
say.
so you've been in a lot of derbies over the years. Would you compare the MWFA class to like what you would feel like in a gut and go? What you'd see out there, pretty much?
Oh yeah, pretty much probably. That's not usually. I don't usually drive in reverse like that, but it's usually I'm usually head on. But yeah, it's pretty comparable to that. It's a lot less work, but to like your Blizzard Bash rules. Soreness
Oh
wise,
yeah.
I would compare it to Bash or Carnage. Carnage, not Bash.
Well,
When I ran Carnage.
when you're laying against your back seat and then you try to drive from there, I mean, you're gonna be sore. I've
Oh yeah.
watched that video probably about 10 times. I'm like, God.
I was pretty sore after Carnage too, but yeah, I'd seen those shots coming. I don't know. It was like I was one of those shots where like I know I'm getting close to this car, and then all of a sudden I would hit it because I'd look forward and try to grip onto the
Now,
steering wheel. I'd line
okay,
the
so you
shot
gotta
up.
take us through your run. You had Dylan Cardwell riding with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first time riding in something like that too. I don't know if he'll get back in the car with me, but
How did that relationship form?
they're from our whole hometown, and Braden's really good friends with the Cardwells. They went to school with them and stuff. So I talked to them a little bit. I help them out if they need it and stuff. But
So technically, the Cardwell boys are like the best drivers from New Bloomfield.
yeah, I don't know about all that. That Busch Light car is hard to beat. Till Braden blew it up.
And he had to climb out of that one. He was ready to get out.
Yeah.
So take us through those two hits. So you were nosed out, or your nose was against the wall on the far end of the track. And a lot of people were telling us, man, we would have sent it if we just didn't get any lanes. But old Zach, he had some lanes.
But that
Take
track
us
was
through
really
that.
narrow. That track was narrow and long, but I don't know. Dylan was preaching to me the whole time because he didn't want to get scared about. He says you need to sandbag for a little while, and that's pretty boring. So I'd sandbag for a good 2 minutes, and that was probably about it. And I started that minivan gave me that whole front end right there, and I just fed it.
Yeah, so there was a van, full size driver, but he was driving a van,
I
and
didn't know who he was.
but so he gave you the whole front end of that, and you took full advantage. And for the listeners that haven't seen it, it's on the Crashed It TikTok or Facebook page or YouTube. There's uh, definitely replay worthy videos of Zach giving all that van all his car could handle. Because man, I was watching that video. Your back end buckled. Was that a
Oh
pretty rusty car?
no, I mean it was. I ran worse, but it wasn't terrible at all by no means. It definitely held better than a W body would have in the ass end.
So after the first hit, did you feel your
I don't
seat
know
bar
about that.
Did you feel your seat bar break on that first hit, or
Yeah,
was
well,
it?
it broke. It broke on the very first one. I hit that blue car, and it kind of broke. And Dylan's seat went back a little bit, and I picked the seat bar up and said, "There it is." So the seat bar is broke, and then I started lining up those shots, and yeah, it was. I don't know. Yeah, they definitely. I felt it, but Dylan's broke first.
So you said your seat bar broke. Did you weld that in, or
No, that was
who welded
definitely
your
Braden. I have to give Braden credit on that. He definitely welded that one in.
Braden Cleathermos welded the cage that broke?
To be fair, it
Just
was
trying to
cobbled
clear this
together.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably never going to weld on one of my cars again, but he's the welder normally.
So the first hit, your guys' seats kind of broke
Yeah.
when you hit Cody Whittle, and then you pull up to the corner and take us through that like you did for our listeners. We talked after the Derby, and you asked like, "Hey, is that going to be on the highlight reel?" I said, "Oh yeah." And Dylan was kind of telling me, "Yeah." I was like, we were going backwards, and we didn't know when we were going to hit someone because it seemed like a long time.
It did. It did seem like a long time we were going across there. I'd line him up. I mean, he was right there in the middle. And I figured I didn't know that many people out there either. So I figured I wasn't going to win, but I didn't have the numbers. So I figured I'd just start whacking. And that's what I did.
And for our listeners, Zach was telling me, yeah, we were both just looking straight forward, and it seemed like we were going forever before we hit that van. And when they hit the van, both of them went flying to the back of the car. I mean, you could just see their legs from my angle. I knew I got the whole shot, but I was like, where the heck? And I thought Dylan was knocked out because
No.
he just laid there. And there was a bumper on the track, and he's like, thanks for stopping the Derby for me. And it wasn't for him, but we were glad that something was there because he was just laying there. I was like, is he not passed out or what?
Well,
I thought he was taking a nap.
Joshua asked me on the wall, is he all right in there? And I looked over at him and I said, are you all right? And he said, I think I want out of this thing. I said, I don't blame you. You don't have anything to hang on to. So he had a little 1-inch ratchet strap holding him in there. So
Yeah, and then after that, you still made, I don't know, 4 hits, 5 hits. Your car caught on fire. The whole thing looked used up. I mean, you definitely put on a show.
Down before us.
Yeah. The steering wheel in that car is all bent around from me having the old death grip on it when I'm driving around because I don't have anything else to hold on to.
How was your arms? Were you sore from just trying to pull yourself up the whole time?
Oh yeah. My left arm was pretty sore, but mainly my neck. I had whiplash.
So how's it feel to pull down the old Mad Dog in that class?
And it feels pretty good considering what was out there. I mean, the Ray boys and stuff were out there, and they usually drive pretty hard. So feels pretty good.
They were. Tyler, he was trying for it. Justin Quincy, he knocked off Alan Bauer's helmet later on in that Derby. I don't know if you've seen that, but they're all waving their arms. I see him. He's a good sized boy. He climbs over the back seat, puts his helmet back on, all under green. I was like, holy crap. He did it so fast, they didn't even have time to stop the Derby.
I'm not so sure the Ray boys are Mad Dogs in that class because Henry Ray still just trying to sandbag it through. Do you notice that?
No, I talked to Henry, and he didn't have any tires for that. That's what he was telling me. He said couldn't get any traction, and you'd hear him come flying across there. He just didn't never make. He made a couple good hits. Henry did. Guy you want to thank, Zach, for helping you out with the car. I mean, Braden he deserves a big thank you.
Oh yeah. No, Braden took off work early and helped me kind of finish stripping it, and he stayed pretty late that Friday night and then was up early morning. Saturday morning we were working on it. So he was definitely a huge help. It was basically just me and him. And the woman for putting up with it because she didn't even want to go either.
So did your women came, right, with you guys?
Yeah. She usually goes about every derby. Especially if Braden's running. If I'm running, it's kind of iffy. If Braden's there, she's there.
Just if Braden's going, huh?
Yeah. Braden's wanting to get into the derby thing. I told him we got to get him a good figure eight car first. But I'm more of a fan of the derby and the figure eight now. It's a lot less work, a lot less derbies.
Yeah, it definitely takes an army to run uh that point series or just the Worthy Bell Bonds figure eight. There's a lot of work that goes into that. I mean, I'm getting Snapchats all week for drivers that are pulling engines and stuff, trying to
Yeah.
get them all ready for Eldon.
Yeah. I think I'm going to run that bump and run. I got one of Alexis's old powder puff cars in the back I'm going to drag up. I got to spank Corey a little bit in that, show him who the real driver is.
And
The
what's
bump and
that?
run.
You gonna try to take his crown, huh?
No, I'm going to.
Heck yeah.
I'll spin him
I don't
out.
know. He was saying like no one stood a chance. He's gonna repeat.
I'm sure he's talking it up. Except for ain't a tractor full that day, huh?
So, like, who's the better driver, Zach? You or your brother? You or Corey? Who is it?
Me.
I agree. Yeah, totally. You are the better driver. Hear that, Corey?
He's Snapchatting me right now. I haven't got a chance to.
Yeah. Literally just sent me a text that Zach can't weld. What's up with that, Zach?
I can weld. Just probably not as good as him. He's pretty good at welding, but I can weld.
But you can sure as hell drive, and we appreciate you always coming out and drive. That MWFA class, you literally made my night. I announced over the speakers like, "Holy shit, Zach and Dilly just broke their seats," and you just kept right on going, like nothing ever happened. It was that takes some courage and some balls. So we appreciate you for that.
I had plenty of sodas that night, so I wasn't very. I didn't feel any of it, so I was feeling pretty good. Always
Yeah,
the next day.
Don't worry. Jeez.
Joshua, you lost it for a second. I couldn't hear what you were saying. But yeah, them shots, I mean, flying around the car like that, it had to make you feel old the next day for sure.
No, it did. And Monday. I think Monday was the worst of it, but I feel
Second
fine
day.
now.
That's
And
good.
luckily on those cars they have like a plate that covers up the back of it. So you can't go all the way into where the spare tire is, or else that's probably where I would have been.
Oh yeah, both of you guys would have been. I was watching, I was like, holy crap. I thought for a second you guys disappeared into the trunk, but then I realized it was just your helmets smacking the back plate and going up.
Yeah.
It's like, jeez. Yeah, Dylan said it felt like he had a queen size bed, or maybe that was you in there.
Oh, it definitely looks like it. That big seat in that older car. Comfy seats. Till they break.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was a few people out there without any kind of back bars or anything, and I was shocked. I was shocked that you were the only one that that had that happen to you?
I didn't really know what I was getting into either. Usually I don't take a car like that to anywhere. Usually I put a lot more work in them and time and new metal and stuff, but I just kind of had that cage laying in the weeds. I just threw in it just to get it done and take it up there.
Yeah. Well, do you have future plans to run the rest of the year? It sounds like that you might be doing the bump and run.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'll probably do all the bump and runs, however many there's gonna be this year, and then I got a few shows that I'm gonna run, and that's probably about it. I'm not gonna run a lot this year. I got a wedding, so
Is that your wedding?
yeah.
Congratulations, man. I
Thank
heard you
you.
say fiance earlier, but
The day
I
is for
don't like
Zay.
to.
It's a Derby day too, so
Oh man,
yeah, there'll be all
what's
after
up?
party. I guess.
Yeah, all you guys have your weddings on Derby days.
I know. It's not one that I really want to go to anyway. So
I hear that you're not running as many figure eights because it just became better than you.
who?
Your brother.
Oh yeah, yeah. What's he setting, like 30th in points? I mean, come on now.
It's on now, huh?
Yeah, I better go drag that Bush Heavy car out of the weeds.
We love watching you drive. I mean, end to end, baby.
Yeah.
That's what we seen at Eldon, and that's what we seen at Richland. Putting on a show for sure.
I was trying to get rid of that green car. I was about tired of working on it.
I'd say you probably did it in. It looked like.
Oh yeah, it's toast. Need the parts out of it for a new car I've been starting on. So
All right. Well, we wish you luck, Zach. Thanks for coming on, sharing your experience, being the backseat driver, as everybody calls you.
yeah.
Before you get off here, Zach, can you tell everybody what kind of build you had? Because you were, if my memory serves, you were building the car literally at the track, so probably not a lot of time.
Was an Oldsmobile 88. I think those are like H body cars, but it definitely didn't take much.
Yeah, I mean, to get it at 11 o'clock at night the night before and show up at the track, get her done.
Well, I picked it up with the windows already out of it, so that was a big help.
So, what do you think about the end of the show for the MWFA, the Punch a Bunch things?
Well, I wish I would have got a better cut, but what do you do? It was pretty cool. Something different.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a lot of people come on and ask us, what the heck's an MWFA class and why is it only play for first place? And I was telling people like, well, first place is just a set amount, then everybody draws from the cups or the envelopes or however they get done. And I think that's a unique experience for any driver. You could have a bad night and still come out pretty good.
No, yeah. I feared
think,
I got better than Braden. I think Braden got $25 and I got 50, so wasn't bad. But
Josh, you got anything else for him?
Nope, just keep coming in second place to your brother, I guess. We'll keep cheering you on, Zach. You're my favorite, Burton. I know Jacob has different feelings, but I'll keep cheering you on, Zach.
good deal. I'm glad I'm somebody's favorite. I better be Jonathan's after his TikTok views.
Yeah, he got you're at 50,000 views between TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube things.
Dang.
You're doing pretty good. I
I'll do
mean,
something.
it's your body on the line.
Yeah, you're
I
doing
was,
even better.
I was like, dang. Whenever I seen that hit, I was just smiling like, oh my gosh. That's gonna be on the highlight reel for sure.
Yeah.
We literally went to red flag, and Zach says he has no seat left, so he's laying down. Basically, he says, "Do I have enough votes for Mad Dog?" That tells you something.
I had to make a little money.
But
I just thought it was awesome that he has, there's no side in his mind for his safety. All he's worried about is Mad Dog votes, which was pretty fucked.
I think that was my first one. My first ever Mad Dog. First or second? No, second one.
yeah, well, we appreciate you coming on the podcast, Zach, sharing your experience with us. We look forward to seeing you. Let's see, it'd be in 2 weeks, I guess. Not this week coming up, but next. So
Yep.
have a happy 4th of July.
You guys too. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thanks for coming on. All right. So next up, we've got 2 other drivers that were in the MWFA class, and they were also in the full size class as well. That's the Ray boys. We've got joining us now. We got Henry Ray and Tyler Wray. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having me again. Thanks for having me for the first time.
Yeah, this is Tyler's first time, and then Henry, he was on episode 18 or 13, something like that. After Richland, him and Justin Quincy, and here we are again. After Richland, Henry's making a habit of being on after Richland. He must really like that track.
The fans are great up there. Like everybody in that stands standing on their feet.
We've got a lot of experience between you guys, and if that's probably your guys' first experience running the MWFA class. Can you guys one at a time? I don't care who goes first. We'll start. I want to hear it from Tyler first, and then we'll go to Henry. Just kind of tell us your overall experience on the MWFA class, and
Henry's number one, so he has to go first.
oh, this is my podcast. I'm having you go first on this one. He gets to go first later.
Oh, all right. I had a ball in that. So I called Cody Whittle on, I think it was Wednesday night, and asked him if he wanted to run because I had that van that he drove and actually won in. And Henry had that Lincoln that I drove and took second in to my own damn van. But building them cars on Friday was awesome. Like, we just rolled the windows down in the doors and took the others out, we left the windshield in mine. But we had a great time.
Yeah, and that's what that whole class is supposed to be about, is just going out and having fun. I mean, knock the windows out, take any flammables out, go out and have fun. And it looked like you were having a blast in that Lincoln. Tell them about your car. What kind of car was that? Like, it was, what year was it?
I think it was a 90. I don't know. It was Henry's. He could tell you more about it. I know it had no power steering pump, no alternator, no water pump, no belt, no brakes. It was hard to start, but once it started, it ran great. So it ran all the way up till it died, and it just happened to die when we was in second. so it all worked out.
Well, you put on a show. You were right up in the running for the Mad Dog. You had some good hits.
We tried to do what we could do. The front end was really rusty on it. That's why it ended up where it was at instead of being built into a car.
Yep, and that's another good thing about that class. You'd see a lot of cars that may never see the Derby track, and then you get a class like that, and you're like, yeah, we can just try this out real quick. And if it don't work out, oh well.
Yeah, well, the original plan was the whole reason I took that car from Henry to build was because I wasn't planning on cutting the bumper bracket and stuff off of my Nebraska car to run the stock class. And me and Cody got done about 11 o'clock, 11:30 or so on building them MWFA cars. And I was like, if this van will fire up and drive out under its own power, we might as well pull my car in and cut the bumper bracket off of it, and I'll run it tomorrow night. And that's what we did.
And for all the listeners that are listening, they're doing this the night before the Derby. And anyone that knows Tyler, I mean, he's one of the hardest working drivers out there. And then when he gets home, he works on them cars, it seems like all night long. Sometimes it's like morning time and you guys are Snapchatting me and stuff. And I'm like, man, when do these guys get some sleep? Because you guys get up with the sun to go, work with the Ray's Lawn and Landscaping.
Yeah, I told Joshua and Jacob that before the Derby, when we was inspecting my MWFA car, Joshua asked how much, he asked what drugs I was on. I was like, hell, I might as well sell all my Derby stuff and buy drugs. I'd get just as much sleep.
Yeah, you wouldn't have fun doing that, though. Stick with the
I
Derby.
don't think so. Well, that's the plan for now.
Henry, what do you think of the MWFA class?
Oh, I loved it, mainly because Justin built the Escape for me. All I had to do was drive it.
Oh, heck yeah.
I really
that
liked
for
the
you?
gut and go.
Were you trying to bag again? And then were you trying to sandbag again, Henry, in the NWFA class?
No, it took about I don't know, a few minutes of me realizing it wouldn't go to remember that there's a traction control button on that stupid thing, and then that's when I finally got able to go to the other end of the track, and then I got chained in there with that Ranger right into the back of Brenton, and it threw the alternator belt off, and that thing will not run without the alternator belt on it.
Gotcha. So you got tied in with Jonathan's son.
Yeah.
Was that on purpose? Were you going after him?
Do what?
So Brenton is Jonathan's son. For those that didn't know, were you going after? Were you going after Brenton?
No,
was that a plan?
I got hit by that Ranger, and I didn't want to hit the concrete, so I got behind Brenton, hoping both of us could stop, and Brenton ended up stopping when we got down to the concrete. I just joined the daisy chain.
You made some good hits, though, out there. There's a couple good shots that in the NWFA class that you were able to make. So is that what happened in the drag race? Is that what happened in the drag race? Was the traction control on?
Yes, it was. Justin actually asked me that today. He goes, did you turn the traction control off during the drag race? And I said, no, I completely forgot about it. I was halfway through the Derby before I remembered it.
Yeah, it sounded like it ran real good once it started getting up and going, but by that time he was already at the end of the track.
Yeah. I got my sand van almost back together for Eldon, though, so you can pick on me again.
Eh, you drive smart in that. That's all right. I'm not gonna pick on you for that. I like seeing the chess games that we're starting to see with some of the drivers out there, and it's just a lot more. It seems like there's a lot more competition that's coming out in the gut and go than we've seen in the past. We've Seems like there's a lot of quality drivers that are venturing into that class as well.
It's nice because you can build it in an afternoon, and you don't have all the time in it for about the same amount of time as driving.
So the MWFA class, how'd you guys draw at the end? Did you do all right, or were you kind of like, dang?
Justin got a good one. I got 50, and Casey pulled a 25.
And Casey, that car looked like it can run again.
Nope, it shorted the negative and the positive out down below together. Didn't realize they were exposed down below. And I don't know how, but all it did was melt the cables that went to the battery. It didn't melt any of the factory side of the cables. So I just put the new cables on it, and it drove itself off the trailer.
What was Justin's good side that he pulled?
Do what?
How much money did Justin pull? You said he pulled a good one.
Oh, 300.
And he pulled something else too, didn't he? He got something else, didn't he, Henry?
Well, I have no idea. What else did he get?
Well, I don't know. I just heard that he got something else, but maybe I was hearing wrong.
Oh, I knew he got the 300. I don't know what
No,
else he got.
Jacob put one middle finger. He drew a middle finger in there. That's
awesome.
what Justin's girlfriend drew was a middle finger first.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Oh man, I was hoping you guys were standing around to tell us about the reaction on her face. I seen her like go, what the like what the heck is this? But I didn't get to really see the full reaction because she was facing the other side.
I didn't get to see that.
So the MWFA class, is that something that you think maybe next year they should try again?
I'd run it. I think everybody I talked to said they'd run it again.
Yeah, it looked like in a whole, just like a whole spectrum of the MWFA class. It looked like so that class, the main thing is just to go out and have fun, and it looked like everybody on the track did. I mean, that's just the synopsis that I seen. Looked like everybody had fun. Everyone shook hands right after the Derby. And that's what you want to see. And it's the luck of the draw. I mean, you could go out pretty early. I think someone did, and they pulled $100 for. They went out pretty early. I think that was Brenton, but
I enjoyed it.
Then we had our mod class. We'll come back to that after you guys are done. Then we had our full size after our mods, and 2 years in a row, I'd say this probably for the fans was the most entertaining class of the night. 2 years in a row. We had 4 cars total out there. This is Henry Ray, Tyler Wray, David Shaw in a MWFA Explorer, and then we had Chris McDaniel out there as well in his I think it was a Monte Carlo. Looked like a pretty good build. But you guys from the drop of the flag just turned it up. I mean, bouncing off the rev limiter, uh, the sound, the pure sound of the engines was just crazy to me. Like you guys were sending rooster tails into the stands, and I was kind of worried for the crowd because they were getting pelted with dirt because you guys were just throwing it. I mean, you were standing on the throttle and out there just hitting people, and it was awesome to watch. I mean, I was up out of harm's way and I was having a blast watching it, but I'd see people they were like taking cover, and then you guys would go across the track and oh here they'd watch again, then they'd take cover, and I'd never seen so many people. It looked like the parting of the seas whenever you guys would stand on the throttle and send rooster tails up into the crowd. And because you guys, so what happened is David Shaw, I think Henry put the good last final shot on him, if my memory serves, kind of pushed him out of the track completely. And they kind of pushed him back in with the skid loader. And then you guys both kind of drove Chris McDaniel onto the blocks, and he probably realized he was outnumbered, so just smartly broke off. And then it was the Ray show. And after that, I was thinking you guys were just gonna, maybe make a few little hits. And I think Tyler said it best after the Derby. He said, we built these cars to go to Nebraska to junk them, and we still haven't succeeded. And you guys left it all on the line out there. It was awesome to watch. Take us through that. One of you, Henry, you go first this time. Take us through your run.
Whoa, hang on. I'll start this one. I backed up from Chris and started to pull forward, and I seen him break his stick when I got smoked in the passenger wheel. I wasn't ready for that yet.
Oh, from Henry?
I seen Chris break his stick, and then from there, I knew we wasn't backing down from nothing. So it was going to blow or they were going to go, and that's about how it went from there on out. I know. I knew Tyler wasn't going to back off.
Exactly how it went from there. So you can watch your video, Jonathan, and see the disappointment in Jacob when I broke my stick. Because I was ready to let it happen, and I would have sat there. I would have sat there and took that hit if there wasn't a fire on the right side of my car, and I had no idea what it was. And if I would have known it was plug wires. If I would have known it was just plug wires, I would have let him hit me. I didn't care. But if you look at the video of my wife's, Whitney, that she took, you can see me come out of that car head first. Because as soon as I knew Henry wasn't going to hit me because he seen that I had broke off and everything, like I was coming out of that car.
Wow. And whenever you so you guys are kind of dodging the whole taking us through. So describe the feelings of, so you guys were going head to head for a while, pushing each other, hitting each other. You both got a good hit on each, 1-to-1, I would say. Henry got a good wheel shot on you, and you kind of took him to the blocks and put him up on two wheels, Tyler, at one point in that battle. And you both were gesturing hand signals through your cars. You can see it on my video. And I think Henry and you both decided you were going to back them up to the fence and on each end of the long end of the track and go full length of the arena and meet in the middle. And just the energy that was going through the crowd's mind because they were seeing, what you guys were doing before that. And they were, we were all kind of like, holy crap, they are not playing around. It got turned all the way up and all the way up so that when you backed up, Tyler, your engine gave way. And when I say gave way, you've been sending me Snapchats of parts and pieces. It's not like it was just a fire. It was the whole engine. And what goes through your guys' mind, like when you're backing up? I know Henry, when you're backing up, you take us through that, Henry. You said that you had something in your, like a harness or something.
Yeah, when I finally got Tyler's attention and we was going to back up, as soon as I started backing towards the wall, I run a hooker harness in my car. It's same thing a lot of sprint car drivers, and it's got a 1/4-inch drive ratchet on the side. And I just started pulling it just as tight as I could get until I bumped the wall. And then I was going to wait for Tyler to drop his clutch, and wasn't. So I dropped mine, and that's about the time I seen the stick come down. And he was jumping out of the car.
Man, I was worried. I mean, I had mixed emotions during this. I mean, I know you guys are, like I said earlier, you guys are like the hardest working people I know. Through the week, you guys are working your day jobs with your dad's business and stuff and keeping the daily operations going. And I'm like, man, these guys are gonna hit so hard that they're gonna be feeling it all next week. And but at the other side of me, I was like, this is a viral video getting ready to happen. I was having torn emotions, but I was worried because once you started coming across the track and I seen Tyler not moving, I was like, this is not going to be good for Tyler because I didn't think you seen him break. And I think you can hear me. I think I was keyed up on the mic and I said, uh-oh, on the announcing. I was like, oh, shoot.
When I was backing up and looking around, and I could hear over the car through my helmet, I could just hear the stands just holler.
I mean, there was definitely energy, a lot of energy. They were ready. We were all ready, but like I said, I was having mixed emotions just because I was like, man, this is going to hurt so bad, but it's going to be so awesome at the same time.
So I feel the most bad for this part because I am the reason it didn't happen. So GM should have made their engines handle more RPMs. Because my right foot was giving it to it. Just the lower end and everything else didn't handle it.
Well, yeah, I mean, anyone can go back and watch the video and just hear you guys giving that. I mean, both your guys' engines were revving out the whole time. And from a fan standpoint, that's awesome. That's what you want to see. I mean, especially when your brother's out there and you guys freaking spend all that time and energy and you're just going out there and laying it on the line against each other. It's got to feel good though. I mean, coming 1 and 2 and having a little chess match and almost having an epic moment out there.
Definitely a great evening.
Go ahead, Henry.
It was definitely a great evening to be on the track with you.
That is a memory I'll never forget. When we were over there, if you're looking at your video, it'd be the far right corner of your track, and we stopped and fist bumped. Will be something I will never forget. That was the best part of the night. When the cars stopped side by side, we gave each other a fist bump, and then we took off again. And I will never forget that.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. We appreciate you guys and all your support. I mean, you guys show up all the time, and we just appreciate your support, and we appreciate what you do out there on the track. Just the the competitiveness of both of you guys is just awesome. It's good for the sport. Wish we had more people like it.
Speaking of support, I've got to give the biggest shout out to Bobby Sparks and Gabe Sparks this time. They're not getting off without it. I grenaded my bell housing in Stanton, Nebraska, broke the starter housing plumb off of it, cracked it all the way to the other side. And Gabe was persistent that I brought it over. They could fix it. I took it over there, left it. Bobby said it was no problem to fix. I got lucky. I found another one. I took it to him, and Bobby sent mine back. It's welded all the way around, strapped, and we put it right back in, and it held up flawlessly. So, big shout out to Bobby and Gabe Sparks.
Henry beat me to it.
So what's it
Henry
like?
beat me to it. I picked my bell housing up at 8 o'clock on a Friday night before Eldon. I picked it up at 8 o'clock on June 9th, and we had everything back in my car and ran June 10th in Eldon because of Bobby and Gabe Sparks.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, to know that you guys have had some pretty hurt transmissions and they were able to piece them back together, and them guys they can weld anything, and it's awesome. It's got to be nice to have them in your own backyard.
So what's it like on the track back against someone that you know is just as fucking crazy as you, knowing that you guys are gonna send it full send in the middle of the track? What's going through your minds?
So
Exactly what I said when I was backing up. Just keep strapping it tighter because I knew that it was going to be all on the floor, both ends.
So I knew mine was going to be all on the floor. I didn't know if it was going to be second or third, but I was more worried about keeping the damn thing straight.
You guys have a ton of horsepower, and there are sometimes you could tell like it starts spinning sideways on you guys. You guys grab another gear, just put it to it, and it just sends you. It kind of kicks a little sideways.
Yeah, so for those that weren't there or that don't remember, it was like a tug of war match, you know, each brother versus brother pushing each other from one end of the track to the other. They were throwing, you know, rooster tails of mud into the crowd. Crowd was parting ways away from the mud. Eventually they got to the point where they said, fuck it, we're going to go end to end. And Tyler's engine sadly broke before they could meet in the middle, but I just remember going, you know, you guys were end to end, and you guys were motioning to each other like, all right, brother, now's the time, you know, we're gonna see what each other built. That was just the coolest moment for me, is watching you guys say, here it is, you know, we're gonna feed it to each other.
Who would have jumped? Who would have jumped too?
Tyler would have folded my bumper up over the top of his hood if his hood didn't hold my bumper down. Because I was already clearing him. So I'm sure if we would have hit it 60 miles an hour, that it was all going up.
That is a lie.
I have to
because
I have
you
to
can
agree
set
with that
my
statement.
car. You can sit my car next to Henry's and they're a spitting image. So whose car would have gave?
Well,
Because
I
Henry
think
basically
Henry's
built
would have.
both cars. I built my car in my shop. Henry built his car in his shop. But Henry's ingenuity is 100% in my car.
Yeah. But you can see on the video, I mean, your bumper was staying straighter. Like he was kind of clearing your bumper. So, yeah, I think it would have just pushed up everything. I mean,
We could have added a broken fan and water pump to the list of broken parts that I have so far. If we would have met.
I guarantee you the bumper would have hit your front plate.
I appreciate that. Maybe a power steering pump in the mix of that. But it'd have been talked about forever if my little LS would have stayed together for 30 more seconds. That's all I asked for.
So since
Just
you
didn't
keep
do
calling it a little LS, you had the bigger engine.
Yeah, I don't think so.
5.3 liters is definitely bigger than 5.2.
Yeah, we'll throw the crank in the mix and see who's wrong.
I mean, you tried throwing your crank out of the mix.
I definitely tried.
This
We
is
just
this
ended
is
up with-
something. This is something me and Jonathan talked about. Like that hit would have been literally a highlight reel forever for Lucky Sevens. I couldn't imagine, if you guys would have actually met in the middle. It would have just been nuts.
On the behalf
just
of
to-
me and General Motors, I apologize that didn't happen.
that's all
Because
right.
I wanted it to happen as well.
Well, speaking for you, both of your guys' backs, I'm glad it didn't. Because it would have been nuts.
Just to clarify, Tyler, before I seen you break your stick, I was leaving the wall in third gear.
Fair enough. Fair enough. See, my little 5.3 wouldn't leave in third. I'd have had to grab a gear again.
I know mine will leave that into the track in third because I did it 3 times last year.
And that is why they call you Mad Dog Henry Ray. And I am. Tyler's a bitch at the other end of the track that breaks his stick.
Nope. I
Yep.
made up a
proved it.
nickname for you.
Oh boy.
Yep. I announced it. I said, there's no one as you're the Mr. Cray Cray, Tyler Ray.
Oh boy.
It
I
was
don't know
about to
about
get
that.
Cray Cray out there.
It is what it is. But hey, we know the showstoppers stopped the show, but we need to change that to Old Door Shot Shaw.
No. He hit his brakes, just not early enough.
I understand that. But he called me Sunday and I told him that he had 2 options. I said it was Door Shot Shaw or Door Shot David or Side Shot Shaw, his pick, and he chose Side Shot Shaw, so that's where we're at.
I have to remember that.
Yep, old Side Shot Shaw.
No, all in all, the mod class, it was a good show though. I don't think a fan left there angry or upset after what happened on the track.
I thought that for 2 guys running together that we put on a decent show.
So what's next for you guys?
Building an engine for me.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, well, we're going to take my cam to Henry's custom cam grinding and see if he can knock the burrs off of it. Because at this point in time, the cam is junk. But if Henry has a more steady hand than me, if he can knock the burrs off of it, I'll stick it back in. I ain't worried about the divots. And we'll see what happens. Because if he grinds too deep, we made more junk. Like, it was junk when we started, so there's that.
Sounds like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure.
The Henry don't care. What's junk is junk. If he can save it, he's happy. If not, well, it's still junk.
Next for you, Henry. We know Tyler rebuilt. He's got to redo an engine.
Well, if I get a radiator tossed in mine, because I am 100% sure them dual pointies love the taste of antifreeze. And because when I poked Tyler's, I slid his bumper underneath and ripped out the bottom of my radiator. So if I put a radiator in it and the water stays where it's supposed to, I'll be at Eldon.
We like to hear. And speaking of Eldon, you guys, man, already working on the track. That's Henry sent me a Snapchat. What was it? A couple days ago. Already out there trying to get the track fixed up for Eldon.
Yeah, we poured a patio for you guys to put your tents and your canopy on to mounts and everything. And Dad got me the skid steer, and then Terry Wood come over with another skid steer, and we went to working it over, trying to get it all to lay down, and in hopes that we'll get some rain.
I tried today. We didn't get what we were wanting, though. Well, guys, thanks for coming on the podcast. We appreciate you guys sharing that moment with us, and we look forward to seeing you at your next show.
Appreciate you having us on here, especially together.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate it as well.
That's the only way to do it when you guys were doing what you're doing. I was like, dang. And tell Justin, I seen him take that guy's helmet off.
He said he
That
felt
was my
bad. He
van.
waited for the helmet to get put back on.
Yeah, he was trying to get everybody to stop. But old Alan, he moved so fast in that car. Heck, he had the helmet back on before they could even get stopped.
Speaking of stopping, I told Jacob and I told Andy, I hate when cars are moving under red. And there was some mass confusion with Andy and his flashlight at the end of the track. I thought he was waving it side to side, and I thought he was trying to tell us to mix it up more. So I backed up, and when I backed up to go to hit Tyler, I seen Jacob walking on the track to get a bumper.
Yeah, we need to address that.
I
don't
thought
know
the
if he-
same thing when I seen Joshua come out on the track. Just after I smoked y'all, like left quarter delete, and Josh come out there, and I was like, I had never hit Chris, and he just kept walking by me. I was like, oh, all right, well, I guess that's not why we're stopped.
Yeah, he was trying to get a bumper off the track or something. But I know they were talking about getting more flags and stuff before Richland. They were talking about that. So I don't know if Andy had flags on that far end. He was just trying to keep people off the wall, but he might have. I don't really know.
He definitely did not have flags. He was shining a flashlight around, and it was really confusing. But who knows where the cars are going to be, so where do you put the flags? Like, that's not a Lucky Sevens deal. That's just something that happened, you know? Like, Andy's there to line cars up. He's not there to flag. So
The flashlight was fine. It was a swaying back and forth is what confused me. Like if he'd have just flashed the flashlight, I probably would have stopped. But it was the back and forth. I was like, man, we're on two different things right now. So I was backing up to go hit Tyler, and then I realized Jacob was on the track.
That's something we'll I'll pass that along. I'm sure they'll hear it. That way they can get everybody on the same page for the next one.
Well, I greatly
That's the kind of
appreciate
stuff. That's
being
the
able
kind
to
of stuff
run.
we don't, that we wouldn't know about if someone didn't say it. So,
Well, I
thanks
had a
for
great
letting
time
us
in
know on
I've
that.
Richmond, and I'll definitely go back if you guys are there again next year.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that.
The best
What-
thing that I have ever seen under a red flag was at Versailles last year when the fire department was on board, and when a red flag was through, they turned the red and blue lights on because everybody knew, and there was no denying there was a red flag, and that was the best thing I've ever seen at a fair show, and I really like that.
That's awesome when you get like the fire department or the ambulance that's already sitting trackside anyway to work with you in conjunction. But I think they had a radio. They had a guy up there next to us, and they had a guy sitting in the truck just for that, and that was awesome.
I had
Because
a good time in Versailles as well.
one thing I'll say about red flags, it's definitely when you see one, we want people to stop right away. We don't want them to keep going. You never know what could be going on in that situation. But we thank you guys for coming on, and we look forward to seeing you guys. Keep doing what you're doing for the sport. I mean, you guys are top-notch guys, and I mean, you talk to anyone around the demolition derby world, and you mention Henry or Tyler Wray, you hear nothing but positivity, and that's what it's all about. You guys are always willing to help people out, and you're always you go an extra mile just for like the hometown shows. You guys are out there as skid loaders trying to get them ready. You guys brought a bunch of equipment to Eldon a couple weeks ago just to try to get the track dialed in right, and you even got us helping us reach out to Chance and having him bring even bigger equipment out, and then Tyler ran it. So
all the equipment is mom and dad. Like Henry said in the previous podcast, like that is mom and dad. Like that's the heart of the company.
yeah, well, we can't thank them enough.
They're definitely the biggest sponsor in all this.
Yep. Ray's Lawn and Landscaping. I'll drop it. You guys need any work done, give Ray's Lawn and Landscaping a call. But thanks for coming on.
Grass mowing is a little slim this year.
Oh, I'm sure. There's no rain.
Yeah, the dirt is rather parched.
I was seeing you guys pouring concrete today on your Facebook page. I said, whew, 100 degrees and they're out there pouring concrete.
If there ain't no green to mow, there's green to be made,
There you go.
as Dad would say.
I like that.
Well, I sure appreciate you asking us to be on.
No problem. I was wanting to get you guys on, and I was waiting for something like that to happen. I knew it was due because you guys have both been putting in the work in the garage and stuff, and that's transitions on the track usually. So keep it up.
Well,
Try to get some
hopefully it
sleep.
happens again soon.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, Josh.
All right, and then so we had on the next, we had a compact class as well. At Richland, there's 4 cars. There was the BAS cars. It had Landon Worthy. We had Kyle Wardenhausen, and we had Wesley Jordan out there. And then there was also, sorry. There was also Josh Faulkner. He's from Rolla. He came, and he had a buddy that came with him. His car wasn't running right, so he decided not to pull it on the track. And Landon Worthy was the one that brought home the Mad Dog in that class. Kyle and Landon, they put on a show the best they could. Never seen. I mean, I was hoping they were going to keep going, but Wes kind of told Landon like break off, man, because Kyle's front end was creeping up higher and higher each time they'd go nose to nose. And uh, as a fan of the compact class, I was definitely enjoying it. But we had 4 cars in that. And then in the full size stock class, we had Henry Ray, Tyler Wray, Chris McDaniel bringing home 3rd, David Shaw 4th, and then Henry Ray brought home the Mad Dog. And the MWFA class, so the top 3 got trophies. It was Cody Whittle, Tyler Wray, Justin Quincy, and the Mad Dog was Zack Burton. Probably the most viral hit of the show was Zach's, and 50,000 views so far on the old TikTok and Facebook and YouTube combined. All in all, Richland was a pretty good show. We didn't get the cars we were hoping for, but the drivers that were there, they put on the best show they could. It was high quality driving, pedal to the metal action, and that's all you can ask for. I mean, each one of them guys went out there to put on a show and make junk, and that's what happened all night long. And the MWFA class kind of set the pace, and it just trickled down from there, and it seemed like it was picking up more and more as the night went on. We were kind of talking like, man, maybe we should have put a hair bit of more water on there, because them full size cars were gripping and ripping, and it might have kept a little bit of the dirt from flying so far into the stands. But them guys were getting around and definitely scooting around out there. We really appreciate them driving that hard. My takeaway from Richland is in the MWFA class, everyone had a blast. Seemed like a class that we could try again with Lucky Sevens promotions in the future. 15 cars for your first time trying something is not a bad number. And everyone went out there and just had fun. And it's kind of one of them classes that brings the roots back into Demolition Derby. And that's what we got to see. Let's see here. Also going on that night, we had some shows around the Missouri Flowers Full Throttle promotions. They had a show, and their street stock big cars, Billy Callow brought home the win. Corey Miller brought home 2nd. 3rd was Dean Julius. The street stock mini class, 1st place was Tracy Inc. Justin Birdsong in 2nd. Timmy Shorts in 3rd. In the youth class, they had Andrew Martin bringing home the win. Gregory Martin bringing home 2nd. And 3rd place to Matthew Mueller. So the Martin boys, some youth drivers there that are coming up through the ranks and will soon be well established in the actual classes, like the with all the drivers. And then the super stock big cars, they had Jordan Faust bringing home the win. Great driver. Rocky Bolin second, and Malachi Ray in third. And the Mad Dog winner was Malachi Ray for that show. There was also a show in Salisbury. I wasn't able to get any results on that class. I heard, Sullivan was full throttle and Salisbury was Showtime officials. I think they had the best car count of anyone on Saturday night. And down in Forsyth, Missouri, 417 Derby Promotions had a Derby as well. But according to our demolition derbies of the Show Me states, they do a pretty good job of keeping tabs on car counts and where shows are. According to them, Salisbury had 45 cars and one got loaded. Sullivan had 39 cars that actually hit the track, and 41 showed up, but 2 didn't make it out to the track. And then we had 25 in Richland, and I think 1 didn't make the track, so we actually had 26. Actually had 27. We had 2. We had a full size car that something happened right before he pulled out on the track, and that could have changed the outcome of the Derby if he was able to make it. And then, of course, the compact driver, he didn't make it out. He had some engine troubles. They both said they were gonna try to come to Eldon though, and we look forward to seeing what they can do with both of them up and running right. But yeah, I didn't get to see who won up in Salisbury. I'm kind of getting excited. We got some shows coming back to Eldon. That's what we're all getting excited for. It's one of my favorite times of the year is Miller County Fair. We've got 3 shows for Lucky Sevens Promotions coming up, and I'll be at all 3 of them. We've got our bump and run, our side-by-side challenge, and our stock figure 8 class. That's going to be on Thursday, July 6th. July 7th is Friday. We're going to have our Worthy Bill Bonds figure 8 championship class, the youth bump and run, and our powder puff. I know Alexis Ferguson, you're getting all excited. She's won 2 in a row, and she's going to try to make it 3 in a row on the powder puff class. We haven't had anyone in the figure 8 repeat yet, and I'm looking to see if that trend continues or if there is someone able to pull off a second win for the season. Our points battle in the Worthy Bill Bonds Championship Series is definitely heating up, and it's getting a lot closer with every race. You're saying, like I said on the previous podcast, the yo-yo effect. And and then on Saturday, July 8th, we're going to have our demolition derby for Lucky Sevens Promotions at the Miller County Fair. And let's see here. Let's see what's classes. So according to the Lucky Sevens website, it's going to be gut and go, compacts, and full size stock class. So we'll have 3 classes, and we look forward to seeing everybody making junk, and we'll see who makes the next Crashed It highlight reel from all of them shows. It's kind of a busy week for me on the footage size of things because every night I got to come home and try to get it all uploaded onto YouTube right after that and into the next day. That way I have plenty of room to capture everybody making junk, and that's something I'm going to continue to do. And we appreciate everybody that shows up and puts on a show for the fans. And yeah, we just look forward to, we hope we get a lot of cars, and we hope a lot of junk's made and a lot of great memories are made in Eldon, Missouri for the Miller County Fair. And we look forward to seeing everybody. This is going to do it for episode number 51 of the Crash It podcast. And we got to hear from Tyler Wray, Henry Ray, and Zack Burton tonight. We appreciate them for coming on. All three of them drivers drove their tails off down in Richland, and the fans would definitely agree that they were happy them guys showed up, and we appreciate the support from them. But as I always say, just go out there and send it, and we'll see you at the next one.